Hello and welcome to our vlog again with me and Alex, and this one is on the props, the costume and the equipment we used for the performance filming of our music video.
Yeah.
So firstly, I think Alex is going to cover the preparation for getting the dates and the stage and everything set up.
Yeah, we obviously, for the performance aspect of the music video, we were going to need, well, initially, I think we were going to use the drama studio to do the filming for the performance section, but we ended up, because that didn't really have a good projector, or rather it was on a screen. So you know, I think we said in an earlier vlog that we went from location to location to location around the school, going from drama studio to the main hall until we finally settled on the auditorium because it had the projector that projected onto a white wall in the background. And obviously, for this, we encountered a bit of a problem with the projector because what we initially wanted was for the projected images, you know, the montage that we have in the background, to wash over us. But first of all, the projector was too high, so we decided to sort of organise like a stage, so that so we would be raised up on this stage, and therefore the images would wash over us. But obviously, in the end, they didn't wash over us either. But what it did allow us, organising this stage, was for us to have the images in the background quite much more prominently. Because otherwise, if we'd done it, you know, without the stage in the auditorium, we would have had to be filming from this angle, like down here. Like if this is us playing, the camera's down here, pointed up there, it just wouldn't have been very good. So in the end, we decided to organise a stage from site team, and in order to do this, we basically had to give them the dates that we would be in there, the room that we'd be in, and ask them if after school on these dates we could have the stage set up in that room. And it, you know, they got it set up, and obviously this meant that we would sort of committed now that we had to do everything during this 1 week before they took the stage down again. So it was quite a lot of hassle with some of the other things that Michael's about to talk about.
Alright, so there's quite a lot of hassle again with getting like the costume set up in terms of bringing everything we needed, and in terms of the equipment as well. I mean, shall I talk about the equipment right now?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so this is quite a big topic. Obviously, a lot of the part of the performance is just getting all the equipment there. I mean, so firstly, I think the best thing to talk about first, get out of the way, is the cameras and tripods.
Yeah.
So when we went to go and film, once we'd set up everything, and once we'd got the stage set up and the costumes on, and the equipment out, like in terms of musical equipment, then we went over to the media block and we basically just gathered loads of cameras and tripods. So we got the DSLR ones, and then we got the handheld camcorders as well.
Panasonics.
Yeah. So we got, and then we used Connor's phone as well.
Yeah.
To film.
Which we had like a little. Obviously, we also had to organise a little tripod attachment for a phone to be used.
Yeah, all of the little stuff like the attachments and SD cards, for example, Strakin provided.
Yeah.
And of course, getting the batteries charged and all that sort of stuff we had to do.
Yeah.
So again, more organising and sort of painful things you've got
Lots
to do.
of organisation for what turned out to be very little filming time, like for each.
In the first couple of days.
In the first couple of days, with all this organisation, there was because by the time we'd gotten everything set up, because there was a lot more things to set up, obviously, than the stage and the cameras. By the time we'd gotten everything set up, we barely had about maybe half an hour to get shot, so we just had to cram. Anyway, like we were saying, there was some other things to organise in terms of equipment, because obviously you need instruments to film a performance. So what we ended up doing for this, we said this a bit earlier, I think, but we had to go to the music block, and like Side Team with the music block, we had to organise the dates that we would be doing it in the room that we'd be in, including this was everything from guitars, guitar stands, microphones, microphone stands. Then we had amps for the guitars.
6 amps.
Yeah, 6 amps. Yeah, that was tough to carry over. But 6 amps and cables to attach to the guitars. Just obviously we didn't, we only had 2 guitars in it. Well, we only had 1 guitar in the end. There's one of our group left, and that linking back to that is actually the reason why we had to organise the guitars. So like, because this member of our group had left, we no longer had a source for the guitars, so that was why we ended up going to the music block. We were initially just going to go to music for, I think, the microphone and the drum kit, but we ended up getting the guitars as well. And the drum kit itself was, I think, that was a bit tougher to sort out, because it's a drum kit, it's a massive bit of equipment. It takes about 7 trips to carry over, like between the 3 of us. But also because before us filming this performance aspect, the drum kit had never been allowed to leave the music block. So we had to actually sort of gain the trust of the music block enough that they would let us borrow a drum kit and actually move it out of the block, which they'd never allowed anyone to do before. And obviously, so with all that set up, we wanted to get a lot of shots in each time, and obviously, not only did it take a massively long time to carry there, it also took a very long time to carry back. With so, like we said, there was a lot of stuff to take into account with these filming sessions, because I say we only had half an hour to film. That wasn't just because, like I said earlier, it was just because of the setup time. It was also because of the set down time. Just taking everything away. So between the massive amounts of time, I'm talking like 2 hours maybe for each set up and set down. Plus.
On the first couple of days it was more than that.
Yeah, first.
But recently we've been getting pretty quicker at that. We're
getting
an hour and a quarter each
getting
time.
Quite good at it. With sorry, the first 2 days were about 2 hours, now it's about an hour and a quarter, which means more filming time, better shots. But that was just a hassle, just carrying it there and back and there and back and there and back, just every day for a week. But yeah, and then there was, I think, one more thing we had to organise, wasn't there? Because the first few shots we were getting weren't looking performance-y enough. No. They were just looking a bit. Well, they weren't looking terrible, but it was certainly didn't look like a proper stage performance. So we also organised a smoke machine from it came from the media block.
I think so.
They lent us a smoke machine that we could use, and that obviously the thing about that was we weren't allowed to use that without a member of staff in the room, which meant that we also had to organise a member of staff to be in the room with us, as well as and so that was Sir actually helped us with the filming and the smoke machine, so that we had to organise when he would be coming in as well to help us.
So I also asked one of our mates, Connor, to come and be the lighting guy, basically.
Yeah.
And he, in the auditorium, when we were filming on the there's basically the main floor of the auditorium, the stage where we set up at the end, and then there was, at some points when we were filming, like a seating sort of arrangement. Yeah, set up, and then you could walk up to the top of the balcony where the lighting booth was and the projector was actually stationed. And he would sit in that lighting room and he would basically put spotlights on Nathan the singer, so that showed him up on the shots, which was quite good. He also had the lighting right, so that it wasn't too light. It wasn't just like a daytime, just sort of out and about sort of light. It was more of a focused sort of studio light, atmospheric sort of thing with the band performing, which I think looked really good on the shots. With the lighting, it was like fairly dark, but still illuminated the characters, the band members as well. So, also from a piece of audience feedback, actually, we've got a couple of things to say about audience feedback. The first one, obviously, was the lighting, and the first few shots, like Alex said, were quite too bright, basically. They basically just looked like they were doing it right now in the room. So we just decreased the lighting levels and put more spotlights on people instead, but not strong.
We had coloured ones.
Oh yeah, coloured ones, right? Actually,
guitar section,
which I like because it sort of highlights the guitar. You know.
We had a blue one.
Blue one,
I think we had two, because I was the drummer in the centre. We had
red.
We had red and like and yellow coming from one side, and so like because I had them coming at me from two different angles on mine because I was right in the middle, and so obviously like Connor did great with getting everything looking brilliant. And we also we definitely needed him because he was the only one that actually understood the lighting desk, like what all of this stuff did in the big room. We also, to actually get in there, we had to have the room unlocked by site team again. Each time, that's another thing we had to organise from site team, getting the auditorium unlocked and also the lighting room. So a lot of organisation that we had to have done, and sometimes when we were filming after school hours, we had to actually organise for the music block to be unlocked so we could actually access
the individual rooms.
The instruments. It was an organisation. I would say a nightmare because it didn't turn out a nightmare, but it like the actual process itself was a bit of a nightmare. The organisation, just getting everything, just so many things to consider.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't think about one of those things, so if we'd have just like not thought about maybe organising this particular room to be unlocked, then that's the whole thing you can't do, isn't it? Like with the stage, you didn't organise one day for the stage to be unlocked.
Exactly.
They put you a massive challenge.
That did actually happen.
It did, yes. That's why I mentioned it.
Just the stage. The one point we filmed during the holidays.
Not that fault, really.
No, not our fault at all. I would say, because basically we came in on one day to film during the holidays, and the stage was gone. We were like, oh my god, what do we do then? So we sort of improvised a little. We didn't have so there were these boxes. That were like a very similar height to the stage around the auditorium. So there were only three, so we put them together. Obviously there wasn't enough room for a whole stage, but what there was enough room for was individual shots. So each one of us would get up on the boxes and we'd set it up. We did 3 hours, and we did an hour on each of us, me, Nathan, Michael, and we basically just got solo shots, just like of just when it was just us on just each of us on stage at a time. The drums were obviously the hardest. They needed a lot more room because it's so big. Whereas I think with the other shots it was a bit easy. Like what we actually did for some shots was leave the drum kit set up in the background on 2 of the boxes, and then have Nathan and Michael stood. So like for each of their filming sessions, we had Nathan on this side of the drums. If you're looking at them like that now, Nathan's on this side of the drums, and then when Michael's doing his, he was on this side, because that was where they were in relation to me in the actual music video where we had a whole stage. So we basically just took 2 boxes for the drum, put them and set the drum kit up on them, and then took the other box and put it over here. So there was actually a massive gap in between the boxes, but you couldn't see it because we were filming upwards. So also so we could get the background in. Yeah, because again, we couldn't have done it without the stage, or the background would have just been non-existent in the video unless we really craned the cameras upwards. So yeah,
Yeah, so I think what we've talked about basically is the camera and tripod getting set up from media. We talked about organising dates, the room and the site and all about
The stage. Yeah.
the stage. We talked about the actual equipment, so that means the drums and guitar and the amps and cables and everything like that.
Yeah. So much.
Shoulder strap even.
Oh yeah.
Like, we went to music and asked. I mean, like, this whole thing with the guitar. So we went over there and we asked, we needed a pick, for example, and they didn't have any picks. They don't keep picks. So we went to Alex's house and
cut the back off a spoon and made a pick.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening, because I had a real pick at my house. I had one real pick, and I was like, oh well, we need two because we have two guitarists. At the beginning we had two guitarists, but then one of our group members decided to leave. So we were like, we didn't really know what to do. So I just mutilated a perfectly good spoon at my house for this non-existent band member. I don't know what happened to the back of that spoon actually.
Still back.
Is it still in? He's still got it in fact.
So we were quite lucky with the picks, to be honest, getting that done. Shoulder strap as well, because I mean it looks stupid. There's no point in filming. You have to do individual shots.
Yeah, if you're like stood like this.
Drummer and the singer. If you hadn't bought the strap, because without the strap, basically the whole film is just pointless, and that's how quickly one of the things can rock.
Exactly.
So we had to ask. I asked Connor again, who helped us out, because he's really good at guitar. So he had a shoulder strap at home, so we just used his shoulder strap.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had the guitars from the music, and they let us bring them. We got the drum kit that we just carried back and forth, and had in the individual rooms. The microphones down, so we had to remember which one to bring each time. Amps we set up in the corners at each stage.
Yep.
We weren't going to do that, but actually some audience feedback again.
Said it didn't look like a real performance if you just had two amps.
Exactly. So you need it to be well done.
Yeah.
So it looks like a real band doing it. So I think that's pretty much everything we talked about, apart from the costume.
Yeah.
When we needed to do the costume, obviously, I've talked about this in previous vlogs, and basically, with the performance, we needed all we're going to have is the montage washing over us. But in the end, that didn't really work. But in terms of the shots, having the shots lower and upper still makes the white costumes worthwhile, because they still wash right here, basically.
Yeah, it was just the costume for each of us was just a white shirt that Michael had bought for each of us, very kind of him, and just jeans, like similar colour jeans, like so that we looked sort of neutral, but like it still worked, because I think it made us look more like a band and not just a bunch of people just in t-shirts playing, you know. But the actual white t-shirts felt like a sort of consistent costume between us, so I think it all worked out in the end. I would have liked to have them watching over us.
Yeah, I know.
Oh well.
Nothing could be done about it. So
yeah, exactly. When we tried to move the projector down, because you know these boxes, they have like the little hole for the projector. If we moved it down, it just hit the edge of the hole, and we didn't actually, go
it's cut off.
It just cut the image off. So we were alright. I guess that's how we ended up.
So thank you for watching this vlog.
Yeah.
And obviously, all the things we talk about now are on the blog at different points. This is one that just pulls everything together. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
There's the end.
Yeah.